This is the Norris Group's Real Estate Investor Radio Show, the award-winning show dedicated to thought leaders shaping the real estate industry and local experts revealing their insider tips to succeed in an ever-changing real estate market. Hosted by author, investor, and hard money lender, Bruce Norris.
The Norris Group proudly presents our 15th annual award-winning event, I Survived Real Estate. Industry experts join Bruce Norris to discuss evolving industry trends, real estate bubbles, inflation, and opportunities emerging for real estate professionals. All proceeds from the event benefit Make-A-Wish and St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. See isurvivedrealestate.com for event details, information on all our generous sponsors, and to connect with our speakers. We want to thank our platinum partners: San Diego Creative Investors Association, U-Direct IRA Services, White Feather Investments, The Collective Genius, MVT Productions, and Realty 411.
Listen now, can't you hear the voice of God calling clear, singing don't lose heart, the time is near, and we'll be going soon. Somewhere beyond the moon.
Thank you, guys. Oh, thank you. When Aaron was 3 years old, he went missing. We had bought a new house, and we couldn't find him. Like, holy cow. And you know where he was? He was next door playing the piano. And the lady didn't even know he was in the house. He had seen the piano and said, I have got to play that. And it's always been part of what he wanted to do. But at 3 years old, he did that. He always wanted to get into theater. He had an older brother that was in theater, but he was so shy, it was terrifying to him. And he tried out, and of course you're going to get a role in children's theater no matter what, but it was such a relief that he cried. It was like a big, big thing to him. And as he did it more and more, he got very good at it, and he started getting all the lead roles for children's theater. And at home I had a weight room, and I was working out one time, and he had just been told he had gotten the lead role in Mary Poppins, and he was Bert, that's right. And he's making phone calls as I'm working out. I take a break, and he's methodically calling all the other kids in the play. And I thought, because he's, I got Bert, that type of stuff. That's not what he was doing. He called and asked what part they got. And then he bragged on their part. I'm tearing up because I teared up then. I cried at the door. Who at 11 does that? Who cares about team building and being there for other people to that extent? But that is who he's always been. It's always been the best experience for me following where Aaron has been. When you're a young kid, you're always the son of the dad, but eventually you're the dad of the son. And so when he was taking theater and he would go through something like a Juilliard and pass it in graduation day, I'd go there for the first time with my wife, and they're like, "You're Aaron Norris's parents? Oh my God, we love him. We love him." when Aaron was at the UCLA hospital, had a similar experience. He was there, he had been there about 5 weeks before for a treatment, and this was the second treatment. I had dropped him in front of the hospital, parked the car, and came back. And as I came back up to the floor where he was at, there was sort of a buzz going on at the nursing station. And so as I went by, I listened, and it was, Aaron Norris is back. Who gets that? I was so lucky to have him as a son, man. My favorite moment that I survived. My favorite moment that I survived was at the end of maybe one of the last ones that we were able to do live. I said, hey, I really want to give Aaron a big thanks. And you guys stood up and gave him a standing ovation. It was so cool and very touching to me. So I thought that was very neat. In March of this year, Aaron calls me up and says, Dad, I really don't know if I'm going to be healthy enough to pull off I Survived. Maybe we should cancel it. I said, let me think about that. And I didn't have to think about it long. I sent a text back. I said, hell no. If by chance you're there and you're not well enough, I want you to hear how people care about you. And I said, if you're not here, then we're going to play a 5-minute video about, and a little bit of a memorial for Aaron. And wherever you are, I want you to hear how people care about you, and I want God to hear it too. Yes. So let's watch Aaron's video. Thank you, guys. Aaron's always been interested in charity, and he came to work for the company around 2005, and within a couple of years, he said, I think we should have a charity event. I said, well, we're a flipping company. And the first charity event we had to tell people to come to a seminar, but it wasn't a seminar, because people just came out of faith in us, honest to goodness. They came, and it was super well attended, but everyone didn't know what to expect, and it was amazing. And it was really timely because our industry, the investors were getting blamed for what went on in 2009, okay? And so it just so happened that on the panel, we had lots of national, top people, chief economist of Fannie Mae and president of the Mortgage Bankers Association, et cetera. And so there's about 400 people in the audience, and I said, I'm just curious, how many of you guys are investors? Of course, every one of you was. So would you stand up? So everybody was dressed just like we are now, and everybody stood up. And I turned to the panel, and I said, I just wanted you to know what an investor looked like. So that night we set ourselves apart and said, you know what? We weren't the problem, and matter of fact, we can be the solution. So because Aaron was so interested in charity, he has, and legacy, he has started his own charity, and Michael Basich is going to come and talk to you about that. And he has received some funds already from, and that's not what we're doing right this second. I want you to know that Aaron is continuing his legacy and supporting kids that maybe is as afraid as he is about acting, was about acting, and this way they can get trained and get better. So, Michael? Where did Michael go? Oh, there you are.
I got to tell you, with everything that's been going on, you do tend to think a lot about family. I haven't even started yet. This is extemporaneous, unfortunately for you. I've been thinking a lot about my grandfather, who I loved, was my hero. Aaron told us to cherish our heroes. And my grandfather was the sort of person that everyone wanted to be around and stay with. And when he walked into a room, he lit up a room, and Aaron reminded me so much of him. And Bruce has a connection with my grandfather, too, because the two smartest men I've ever known in my life were my grandfather and Bruce Norris. And neither one of them went to college, which goes to show you, if you're smart enough, you don't need to go to college. My parents thought I needed a little bit more institutionalized education, so I stayed around for a little bit longer before they released me into society. I'd like to thank Joey Romero, who stepped into some incredible, I mean, this is hard enough for Aaron, and Joey stepping into it like that after a 2-year absence. I'd also like to thank Joey for picking, somehow miraculously, all the worst pictures of me I've ever seen in my life. But I'm starting to think maybe it's not the pictures, maybe it's my face. So at the very first I Survived meeting, Erin got up here and quoted from the poet Maya Angelou. And she said, "Surviving is important, but thriving is elegant." And that's what Aaron did. He thrived. So I'm told at an event like this, I can't talk about politics or religion, so naturally I will talk about both of them. So every year, as Joey will tell you, Aaron was a little nervous that people weren't going to sign up for this event. And I said, relax, these are real estate people. They're like mobile attorneys. They're not sitting behind a desk, they're out doing stuff. Plus, being a perfectionist, he wanted everything to be perfect. Every year, he'd ask me to say a little prayer that people would show up. His concerns, however, were never about himself. It was always about you and having a good event. He was worried about his dad. He was worried about the charities. And he was very worried and concerned about the ongoing and noble causes that you all support. And he said, say a little prayer. And I said, Aaron, there are no little prayers. There are only prayers. So all of you here, whatever your background is, I have prayed for you. That's one of my contributions to this dinner. My second contribution to this dinner is I was one of the 2 gentlemen that was posted outside that door to try to keep you all from getting in here early. And I did a terrible job because when we finally opened the door, there's like 18 or 19 people in here. There's purses, there's chairs tilted, people were holding seats. And I figured, there's nothing that can stop a real estate agent from getting onto a piece of property if they really want to. And some of you were really diabolical. One lady cut through the kitchen and said she worked for the staff. And then the staff asked me, do you know this lady? I'm like, I've never seen her before in my life. And actually, I did, but I lied and covered for her. Finally, and perhaps my greatest contribution to this event was the bacon-wrapped dates that you all eat in the lobby. So there was actually one year we didn't have them, and I thought half of you were going to leave. And I told Aaron, I'm like, what are you doing? They came here for the bacon-wrapped dates. And then some information in addition to that. So you're welcome. I'm grateful to see so many of you here. That is a creation of Aaron's ingenuity and imagination, and now his legacy. And the money raised by all of you at the Norris Group and the many sponsors are well over $1 million and counting and continuing. And your continued support has been amazing. And I can feel Aaron here tonight, and I can feel his joy that you're all here tonight. I'd also like to quickly take this time to thank all the doctors, nurses, and medical professionals that helped Aaron because of the very rare form of cancer he had. We actually could have lost him suddenly over 1.5 years ago, although even tonight, it's still very sudden. Some of you may have seen Aaron's TED Talk, and if you have it, I would encourage you, not during the event, but go Google TED Talks, Aaron Norris, and you'll see something beautiful and something full of wisdom. It's informational and it's inspirational, and he talks about life, and he talks about fear, love, courage, but mostly Aaron's talking about saying yes to life. He talks about not being perfect, but real people aren't perfect, and perfect people aren't real, although he's about the closest thing I've ever seen to it. Sorry. The big lesson from the TED Talk is that although we may have a destination in mind, how we adapt to the distractions and disappointments of life sometimes bring us to beautiful places that we couldn't have imagined, like tonight. Aaron thought his life would be in show business, And it kind of was. I mean, this is kind of show business. How many boring seminars have you been to? And you've probably not been to many that are this fantastic. Although Aaron thought his life would be in show business, through the twists and turns, he ended up back in California working with his dad and contributing to the community while obtaining his MBA, cum laude, from UC Irvine. I only graduated college, thank the laude. The messages of love, as you can imagine, have been overwhelming. Awards have already been named after Aaron, and people have gone out of their way. My phone's been blowing up. People want to come up and tell me and Bruce and you how much he changed their lives and how important he was to them. And the themes are all similar: adored, sincere, sweet, happy, helpful, funny, and always fun. And I've always said Aaron was just quite simply a walking smile who wanted to live in a better world that he helped create. So the name Aaron is Hebrew, and it means mountain of strength, exalted one, teacher. Good job naming your kid, Bruce. And how fitting, because he was a teacher to so many, he was exalted by everyone, and he was my mountain of strength and to so many others as well. I've often said Aaron was the perfect combination of both of his parents, Bruce and Marcia. He had his father's business acumen and generosity, and his mother's charity and compassion for others. Aaron, in the TED Talk, urges us over and over again to say yes. Yes to life, yes to weird, and yes to different, and yes to new. Aaron always taught us how to say yes, and you being here tonight is a gigantic, beautiful yes to Aaron. So even in our grief, we're so thankful for the many years that we had Aaron with us. So appropriately, the name of St. Jude's magazine is Inspire, which is what Aaron did more so than anyone I've ever met. Even in the hardest times, as Bruce indicated, while he was fighting cancer, he was more concerned with cheering up the staff and the other patients in the hospital than he was in his own well-being. Of course, he had little tricks. He would ply them with cupcakes, pizza, cookies, and other small measures of love and affection. And of course, he was their favorite patient. And with everything he was going through, he was more concerned about brightening their lives, which is a typical theme in Aaron's life. I've often said the most question asked of me over the past 18 years is, where is Aaron? And the most common response I say is, I don't know. To be honest, sometimes he was so busy. There was one year I actually considered chipping him just so I can keep tabs on where he was and what he was doing. And I'm not going to tell you all the wonderful things about Aaron. Nobody could. In fact, you probably have as many stories as I do, or maybe more. But the thread that ties Aaron with all of us and all that he did was joy, compassion, and love. No one hanging out with Aaron ever wanted to leave. And Aaron loved the arts, as we've seen and we know, and it formed the man he grew up to be. But even as an adult, Aaron had a boy's heart, pure and sure that he could do anything. The Aaron Norris Creative Fund was created this year to support the arts programs, primarily in the Inland Empire. Aaron was a beloved member of the community and is fondly remembered by the Inland Empire Community Foundation for his leadership and dedication in raising almost $1 million in charity for the Inland Empire. The Aaron Norris Creative Fund that lives on here and ever after will help us support arts programs throughout Southern California, and perhaps someday even possibly inspire a future Aaron. St. Francis said, always show the goodness of God, and when necessary, use words. And that was Aaron's life. One saying Aaron said that actually irritated me, I hated this. Aaron said, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. A lot of you young people say this like way too much. It's all good. And I'm not accustomed to that. I come from an Italian family. We didn't even answer the phone, hello. We answered the phone, what's wrong? But you know what? With Aaron, it was all good, and Aaron was all good. And as Aaron would say, quoting from a musical, of course, it doesn't matter how you start, it matters how you land. And his start, his middle, and his landing were excellent. So I've seen this video, and I had to go in the hallway because I couldn't see it again. I've seen him play that piano 100 times, and it doesn't get any easier, but it does get more beautiful every time. So another lyric from that song he was playing on the piano applies not only to him, but also the incredible organizations that you're supporting tonight. Somewhere beyond all doubt and fear, beyond the reach of sorrow's tears, where broken hearts run strong and free, where every child of God will be. So Aaron didn't live a long life, but it was full and joyful. Aaron lived by a motto that he himself never said, but it's from President Roosevelt, the good one, Teddy. He's in the corner. Do what you can, where you are, with what you have, and that's always what he did. And thank you for being a part of Aaron's legacy as we begin our new journey together. So with that, my plea to you tonight comes directly from Aaron, from his TED Talk. Please give generously of your time, your talent, and your treasure. God bless you and all the work that you do. And like I said, I can feel Aaron with us here tonight. I could feel him in the room. And I know, as always, that he's smiling. Thank you.
We'd also like to thank our gold sponsors: Chase Leland Photography, Inland Valley Association of Realtors, Keystone CPA Inc., LA South RIA, Lavis Tax Wealth Management, NorCal RIA, NSDREI, Pasadena Phoebe, Tony Alvarez, White House Catering, Wilson Investments, Windermere Tower Realty. See isurvivedrealestate.com for event details, information on all our generous supporters, and to connect with our speakers.
For more information on hard money loans and upcoming events with the Norris Group, check out thenorrisgroup.com. For information on passive investing with trust deeds, visit tngtrustdeeds.com.
The Norris Group originates and services loans in California and Florida under California DRE License 012-19911, Florida Mortgage Lender License 1577, and NMLS License 1623669. For more information on hard money lending, go to thenorrisgroup.com.